Black.
What a massive, unforced error by the Trump administration. Donald Trump would love this story to go away, but in fact, interest is climbing higher and higher, to quote Jackie Wilson. Look at this. Google searches for Epstein up 1,200% this week versus last. And get this, it is currently the top topic search with Trump on Google alongside his presidency. So Donald Trump normally, leans in stories in which there's controversy, like tariffs, for example. This is a story in which he's trying to get away from, basically saying, why is anyone still interested in this story? But the bottom line is people are very interested in this story to historic degrees, at least this week.
Give us some perspective. You see that 1,200 number about other stories in comparison, how people are viewing this one.
Yeah, okay. So, I mentioned tariffs earlier on, right? Epstein has been Googled a lot since Monday. He has actually been Googled 1.4 times as much as tariffs has been Googled. And that is, of course, a huge news story. How about Grok, which is another insane news story this week? I mean, my goodness gracious. But in fact, Epstein has been Googled 2.5 times as much as the Grok story has been Googled. So the bottom line is this is a story in which there's a lot of interest. And it's one of the few stories in which both Steve Bannon and Elon Musk are going after Trump. At least the Trump administration, he's managed to bring together two parts of the administration or two parts of the fan base that have normally been against each other.
Yeah, you can bet on anything, and this proves it. What are you seeing as far as whether or not people think that they will actually release these Epstein files?
Yeah, I know my buddy Vin from Jersey would love for the Trump administration to release more Epstein files. But get this, Trump releasing more Epstein files in 2025. This is the betting market odds. You go back 2 months ago, it was 43%. You go back even a month ago, it was 39%. But now it's just at 20%. I think that there are going to be a lot of the normally MAGA fan base who are going to be very disappointed. And this is all a self-inflicted error by Trump and the Trump administration.
Many in the administration were pushing all these conspiracy theories, promising bombshells when they got into office, and nothing.
It turns out what goes around sometimes comes around when you push conspiracy theories.
That is true. All right, Harry Enten, it is a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend.
Over to you, Kate.
Where are you on Pam Bondi resigning?
No, I'm not going to condemn Pam Bondi because she takes orders from the White House. She doesn't make unilateral decisions. She does what she's told to do. That's the way President Trump runs the administration. None of the cabinet heads make independent decisions. They all come out of the West Wing and the White House, all of them. So, you could sacrifice her,
right?
But it is a bad look for Donald Trump. You can't justify not being more upfront about a case that's captured the attention of millions of Americans.
AOC has had nothing to...
I want to stop right there for a second, Johnson. Look, first things first, man, this thing is not going away, obviously, and I'm glad it's not going away. We need people need to see the light about Donald Trump, about what's really happening with his administration. They also need to know these people are not being honest, okay? What they're trying to do now, the play right now, it seems, is they want to throw Pam Bondi under the bus, as Bill O'Reilly just pointed out, in order to save themselves. Because, was it Patel, Vakish, and Bongino, they all ran on talking about this stuff. They kept talking about they're going to get this stuff released, and we're going to stand behind it. We're going to put stuff out. We're going to tell the truth. And they were making it seem like they were going to be the insurgents to go in and do what the Biden people would never do, what the Obama people would never do, what none of the run-of-the-mill Republicans would ever do. And look at what they actually are doing. Nothing. So this needs to be exposed. Yeah, my job here, and I define what it is. It's not a job that's given to me by anybody. I feel like my job here is to try to call balls and strikes to the best of my ability. It's hard when you're a Democratic Party hater, but it ain't hard on this one. Look, Republicans don't need to be Republicans. Republicans need to be independent too. And this is a clear example of why. If you can't look at your president and say, hey, dude, what's going on? Don't hide behind Pam Bondi. You know damn well Pam Bondi don't call the shots. That's why she's there. Anybody working in the Trump administration, reports to Trump. This is not the last time. The first presidency, he had people that didn't listen to him, that did what they wanted to do sometimes. Then he fired their ass. Well, he ain't fired Pam. Maybe he will. Maybe that'll be the play. Maybe that's what he'll have to do to save face on this thing. Fire her and say, why did she do it? But he's already out defending her. But it's going to come. It's going to come to the point where he's going to have to sacrifice her. Or Democrats will have this is a golden ring given to the Democrats, man. That's why they're going to lean in. They're going to lean in on this because this benefits them. Oh, man, they see blood in the water on this one. Oh, God. It's looking good. And to that point, speaking of blood in the water, Johnson, speaking of unforced error, Johnson, and it's not unforced in the sense of when you play with guns, when you play with fire, you get burnt. People were using the fire of the Epstein files in order to ingratiate themselves, to soften up the public, to make it seem like they're the everyday kind of guy. You can trust them. And they're going to fight for the things you care about. Well, now they gets to bite you in the ass. And you had to know this was coming. That's why it's an unforced error. But speaking of people chomping at the bit, Democrats, check this out.
Say about the attacks on the ICE agents. Can you believe that? But the Epstein fiasco gets her attention. You see what she posted today?
Capture the attention.
He's going to go, and Cuomo's going to go in on AOC. And I'm here for it.
Of millions of Americans.
AOC has had nothing to say about the attacks on the ICE agents. Can you believe that? But the Epstein fiasco gets her attention. You see what she posted today? Wow, who'd have thought that electing a rapist would have complicated the release of the Epstein files? Hope it goes viral, because that's all you're about. What have you ever done to fight for the release of the Epstein files? Huh? You sent out a few tweets over the years just to try to what? Ride the wave? Where are your resolutions? Where are your speeches on the floor? Where are your demands? Nothing. Just like the rest of your propaganda and your false promises. It's great for you for being developing a following, but it's not much in terms of being a leader when you get nothing done and you just play the game of advantage. You are no better than the people you think you oppose on the right. Trump.
I like that segment from Cuomo, man, and I've been critical of him before, and I'll probably be critical of him again. But I like what he just said there, because that's really all they're doing, and that's what both sides do from time to time. But, hey, call it out when it happens, no matter who does it. And, yeah, that's what she's doing. You know, damn well Biden was in the office. They come up with reasons not to release it, and she'd be quiet. You know, damn well she would be. Come on, man. Shit, see, Burley, we're talking about Israel. And very carefully talking about that. And people are dying. You know she wouldn't be talking about this. She's talking about it now because it benefits her politically. That goes for all of them. Let's see what Stephen A. Smith had to say.
No matter what you may think about him, if you are on the right, you could not ask for better than what he has done, because what he has done is what they have said they wanted and have been trying to get done for years. And even they admit that he's doing their bidding, yet they're in an uproar because the Department of Justice said there's no client list and the Epstein files case is closed. Really? I mean, I'm wondering I got to talk to Steve Bannon. I got to talk to him. I got to talk to some of these people, you know, the Tucker Carlsons of the world and everybody going crazy over the Epstein client list. Mm-hmm. That's what you're concerned about? I mean, you've got such a hard-on for the president that you are losing your mind. With all the things, again, if you are a member of the right, you're a centrist, you're a leftist, you can't be too happy with what he's doing. But on the right, you have the audacity to look at this man like he's I don't want to be facetious, but you're treating him like he's the Antichrist right now because of the Epstein list. That's what you're mad about? I do find myself a bit shocked by that. I'm like, damn, I expected folks on the right to have a lot better things to complain about than that. But they really, I mean, I don't even want to bring up his name, but you know who it was that was crying on his podcast. You know,
Alex Jones.
A few days ago because the Epstein list wasn't released. Really? Really? That's what Bongino. I respect the hell out of Bongino. I really.
Why? Why do you respect the hell out of him?
Really do. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with everything he said, but I have profound respect for him.
Why?
And his service to our country being.
Why?
You know, doing the things that he has done. But that's what you're reportedly contemplating resigning. You're the deputy director of the FBI. Really?
All right.
Okay, before we get to that, I got to say this. I got to respond to Stephen A., man. Stephen A., my brother, I'm glad the Republicans are upset about this. I'm glad that MAGA's upset. They should be upset. They should hold Trump accountable. Look, man, you want politicians to do something, you got to hold their feet to the fire. Okay? And what a better reason to hold their feet to the fire than children being trafficked. And a bunch of rich assholes, privileged elites, having access to those children and that going unpunished. Okay, as we know right now, there was a ring of activity, of nefarious activity, assault on young minors. We know this, right? And now we know that only two people, really one person's been able to pay any type of price for that, and that would be Ghislaine Maxwell. Epstein's not here. His price hasn't been paid. Okay, but we know everybody who's been there, who benefited from the use of either the planes in order to fly in on the fly list. My brother pointed this out in the show last week, a couple days ago. We got two lists, fly list, client list. Blackmail people, client list, right? Flight list, flight log list. We got two lists of people here, all right? So those people should be exposed. So I'm glad, I'm very happy that we got MAGA people with some integrity, holding Trump apart, holding him responsible. This is more than the Democrats would do. Stephen A. just solidified that he is garbage. He doesn't know Stephen A., who also won't come on this show. I've extended my hand. I've invited you, Stephen A. You people said you busy. Everybody's too busy to talk to me. Some Republicans, they'll come talk. Van came and then he ghosted. Shouldn't have trusted him. I thought he was a stand-up guy, but he folded to the pressure. Guess I won't be going on the Breakfast Club after all, huh, Van? Yeah, I had a feeling Charlamagne knew who I was and didn't like me. Probably was Kamala's team that told him that to mess with me. Anyway, point is this. That's got nothing to do with anything, Tim. Just want people to know that there's all this shit going on behind the scenes that you don't know about. Listen, I got to give credit to the MAGA people for holding people accountable, for holding Trump accountable. You want something out of your president or any leader, you got to hold their feet to the fire. People do things because they have to. They don't do things always because they want to. Okay, so whatever you want to get out of Trump, you got to force the issue. You got to make someone do it. You got to make it uncomfortable not for them to ignore you. That's what you do. Stephen A. Smith hurt himself immensely in this piece because he shows he has no core. Man, you don't even understand why people will be upset. We're talking about people's lives here. We're talking about the elites getting away with trafficking children. You don't understand why that might be an important issue? Yeah, okay, fine, tariffs, fine, deportations. Yeah, you ran on doing that. What, you want a cookie? That's what you said you were going to do if you were elected. You also said you were going to do this. Just because Stephen A. doesn't have a backbone, just because Stephen A. doesn't have any ethics, he's just an opportunist. And it's evident. It's evident in this. Yeah, you would like to know some things, but if you can't know, you can't know. I mean, and then to throw Bondi under the bus again, oh, the Department of Justice won't give. They said there's nothing there. And the Department of Justice said, oh, come on, Johnson. We know people that work for Trump. Those people work for Trump. Pam Bondi works for Trump. If he said give the documents up, release everything you got, she would. He told her not to. Stephen A. is embarrassing in this segment because he is acting like a person with no moral compass. If you're going to stand up for something, this is a primary example. Look, Epstein's dead. Ghislaine's in jail. The only people left are the people that did things. Rush him. Rush him. And anybody giving Trump backlash on this, good. It should.
This breaking news, sources tell CNN that Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino has told people that he's considering resigning amid a major clash between the FBI and DOJ over the continued fallout from the release or lack thereof of the Jeffrey Epstein memo. Joining us right now on the phone is CNN anchor and chief White House correspondent Caitlin Collins. Caitlin, what more are you learning?
Yeah, Fred, it remains to be seen if he actually follows through with what he has told colleagues. But what we do know is that Dan Bongino has told people he is considering resigning as the deputy director of the FBI over the fallout that has continued ever since this memo was released.
All right, folks. Garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage. Listen here, folks. Dan Bongino ain't going nowhere. This is all show. This is all theatrics. They're taking a page out of the Democratic playbook here on this one, Johnson. Come on, man. Paying body what should be sacrificed for this? I don't know. That remains to be seen. But Dan Bongino, he knows what time it is. This is all behind the scenes. They're running plays right now. You run down, do a down and out. You run over there, do a butterfly, button hook, whatever the hell. Turn around, I hit you in the bread box. Be ready. The ball will be waiting for you when you finish your route. This is what's going on with the Democrats or with the Republicans or with the Trump administration. It's a page right out of the Democratic handbook. Put on a show. Flood the zone. So that's what's happening. Everybody's playing their role. Alex Jones acting all brokenhearted. Steve Bannon is acting insulted. And Tucker Carlson's acting like he's, it's all a game. At the end of the day, there's a reason why Trump sat there looking very guilty. In fact, I got to find a clip.
Mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former labor secretary who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of the stabbing?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was...
Okay, let's stop right here and let's point out something here. Trump sounds very guilty in this video. Yeah, he sounds very guilty in this video. I'm not sugarcoating, I'm not putting it on. I'm not going to play that game with y'all. We know what it is. It's like a guy running for deflection. Oh, you gonna ask that? You gonna ask me how to Cedric the Entertainer saying, you gonna ask me that, dog? In front of my kids, though? You gonna answer that in front of my kids? Let me at him. President always be fighting people. Look, the point is this. Donald Trump sounded like somebody with something to hide, and like this was all scripted, the response, and he wanted to have this retort. Now, this may work, this Jedi mind trick may work on only the most demented of the MAGA group, which is probably 40% of them, who will fall for the Jedi mind trick where he goes, come on, we're above this. We don't need this. This is not important. What are we doing? Still stuck in the past. Let's look forward. Stop talking about old shit. Skip the question. Yeah, that sounds like somebody with something to hide who may be appearing in something, or maybe other powerful people who are donors of his campaign or donors to the Republican Party, or powerful people who may appear on this list. Remember, this is not all about Trump. It just may be in Trump's best interest that this not come out. It does not have to be that it's Trump. In fact, I don't even believe it is Trump on the list. And if it is Trump on the list, it's along with a lot of other people too. Okay? So, because if it was just Trump, Biden would have put this shit out, because they've had this list since 2007. I tend to believe that if there was something incriminating that solely incriminated Trump, it would have been released under Joe Biden. That's one way to get him out the race. Works a lot more than some trumped up charges about Stormy Daniels. Yeah, one night it was Stormy Daniels 20 years ago. Ain't gonna do it. I was stupid to begin with. So yeah, kick that. So anyway, but just remember that there's more in the line than just Trump. Okay, some of this, I tend to believe that if you got a list, it's got a lot of names on it. What good would a list be if it just had one name on it? So we're talking about other people. Some people are saying it's possible that Epstein worked for Mossad, and that he wasn't working alone. He was working on behalf of others, and this has some things to do with certain security, national security organizations, doing the bidding of those intel organizations in order to get leverage on people globally, internationally even, right? So this could have far-reaching impacts beyond Donald Trump. But the bottom line is, the information's here. Trump is not a president, and it looks bad because he has the power. He has the power to release it, or he appears to have the power. Which truly, some people would debate me about how much power the president truly has. Last but not least, let me just clear it up. We'll be very honest here. I'm glad this is happening. I'm glad he's getting scrutiny. I'm glad he's on a hot seat. I think you should keep him on the hot seat. Make your demands, MAGA. Prove you're not like the Democrats, that you will ride for something that you believe in, even if it ticks off Trump, even if it's against his wishes. Because one of the complaints, recently I did a segment, and the person in this segment was going on and on about how, Joy Reid it was. Joy Reid was saying how MAGA would do anything Trump says. Yeah, MAGA is doing something that Obama worshipers never did. They're holding Trump's feet to the fire right now. I don't remember Democrats holding Obama's feet to the fire. I don't remember it. I don't remember them having an urge of conscience, a consciousness that said a crisis of conscience, and said, we got to hold Obama to this now. Now, the people that did that got X'd out, lost their careers, or lost access, and basically got de facto punished, put in the corner until he got out of office. People like Dr. Cornel West and Tavis Smiley come to mind. Okay? That's what I remember. Then everybody else just shut up and got quiet. Like, what's that fast-talking professor who ain't good for nothing? With the glasses? Thinks he's his hip-hop historian? Michael Eric Dyson. Those types of folks. You know what I'm saying? They all fell in line behind, when they saw that happen, they all fell in line. So, what MAGA's doing, regardless of all the name calling, all the bickering and all the mean-spirited stuff the Democrats say, particularly these Democratic commentators, right? Liberal commentators, they talk about MAGA people are just robots and zombies. Yeah, well, if they're holding their president accountable, we all know you wouldn't do that if a Democrat was in office, because you had an opportunity to. Biden was just in office, and why didn't the documents come out? Why didn't you rally for Biden to do the right thing? Oh, suddenly you got a conscience. Suddenly you care about the children. All right, guys. Hey, look, I'm Tim Black. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here for the Tim Black Show. We do this Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 5 days a week. Tune in 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us, become a member, and with that, let's go to the comments, man.